Hello, welcome to Tuesday's Not Today. I'm Al, thank you for being here. I hope you're well. This is what we've got coming up for you today. First, we've been to the historic Newark Church facing a £600,000 shortfall because of recent tax changes for places of worship.
What we're asking for is simply transitional arrangements where building work's already happening, where the funding is, in place and being relied on, and suddenly the rug's been pulled out from under their feet.
We'll have more on that for you shortly, and we'll be talking over what happens next for Nottingham's Broadmarsh shopping centre site. Cash has been granted to begin its demolition again, while new exempt papers suggest some of the land could be sold. We're going to have more on what that means very soon. And we'll be covering a protest over the weekend that calls for more flexibility to take children out of school during term time.
A lot of the people that are actually getting fined are for children with SEND, for children that are unwell, and they are trying to be forced back into education.
We will also meet the Nottingham boxer who's hoping to become an iconic figure in the sport as he prepares for his first professional fight.
Aspirations, hopefully maybe a British title, maybe a European title. Having Efo and Derek around me, it's good to see what they've achieved, and it makes it seem possible for myself to achieve these things as well.
And he will kick off, or touch gloves, a sports roundup which includes reaction as Forest women extended their lead at the top of the league with a 2-0 win on the road.
What I'm really pleased of is a set play. We knew that it was an area that we could exploit. And again, we're Freya's on the end of that one, and that puts us at 2-0, and then we know it's about managing the game.
All that and loads more coming up just for you. First then, we are talking Broadmarsh. After more than £3 million in funding to redevelop the former shopping centre was approved, the money will be provided by the East Midlands Combined County Authority as part of a wider project to demolish parts of the existing concrete frame to prepare the area for a mixed-use development. But new papers have also suggested parcels of the land could be sold off to developers, and that could mean new projects can be built on the site from 2029 onwards. Our local democracy reporter Joe Locker has been following the story and is here now to fill us in. I love a Broadmarsh story, Joe. So where are we now with the redevelopment?
Yeah, well, as you're well aware, it's been a long old saga, and I remember walking around inside the Broadmarsh when it was being sort of demolished and seeing, the remains of the wimpy that was once there, sitting on the last remaining chair actually. So that was interesting, and that was way back when. And this all began really in sort of 2020, September 2020, as everyone in Nottingham, I'd imagine, will be aware. The former owner of the shopping centre, Into, went bust, collapsed into administration, and the site was handed back to Nottingham City Council. After it was handed back to the council, this advisory group was set up. Many will remember that Thomas Heatherwick, the sort of world famous designer, was part of drawing up this new vision for the site, really, in 2021 after the big conversation. I don't know if you took part in that way back when people were asked what they'd like to see on the site. And we have had movement, really. We've had the new Central Library open in 2023. We've had the Green Heart, which opened last year. So things have been happening. But as you mentioned, the timescale, it'll be, almost a decade before more work begins, really, more construction work.
So let's touch on that now, because like you say, it feels like we've been talking about it for forever. What are the timescales?
Yeah, so it's, the funding from the Combined Authority, Combined County Authority, that has been approved now. And they're hoping to start demolition of the remaining frame that they want to get rid of. We'll start in July this year and finish a year later in July 2026. So that'll be to get rid of most of the remaining frame. And then according to documents that are published ahead of a meeting next week, building work won't start until 2029. So that's building work of all the new potential schemes that are going to be built on the site. And in these documents, it says the council will be basically, once approved, agreeing to sell parcels of the land to developers or a developer, which haven't been named yet. So we're yet to find out what exactly the plans are.
Okay. How much is it all going to cost is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've the council's got 3.4 million from the East Midlands Combined Authority. That's to help kickstart the rest of the demolition. But that entire project is going to cost just under £30 million, and the rest of that is going to be funded from sort of private sources, according to the council. But at the same time, when the council does sell the land that it owns to these developers or developer, it's going to make a significant sum of money. So it's sort of a win-win, really.
What can we expect to see? I mean, we all want Wimpy to come back. Of course we do. We don't know whether that's going to happen. What can we expect to see built there, though?
Yeah, so I'll have to ask the council leader that if we're going to see a massive Wimpy built on the site. But no, she's promised that there's going to be no student accommodation. She says there's enough of that in the city centre at least already. The master plan outlines that there's going to be between 750 and 1,000 new homes. So that'll probably be apartments, I would have thought, for families, as the council leader, Nagat Khan, says. She wants it sort of tailored to families, family homes. And there's going to be 20,000 square feet of employment space. So there's going to be, an abundance of new offices, potential businesses, Wimpy maybe, who knows. And the car park, the big NCP car park's included in the sort of site boundaries. If you go on our website, you can see a map of what the council wants to sell, and that the NCP car park's included. So I think eventually that could come down to make way for, a clear view of the castle, I suppose.
Okay.
So lots of work going on, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah, well, we're used to that, aren't we, Broadmarsh? And there's been so much that could have happened and hasn't happened, and we'll just wait and see. But the main thing we want is Wimpy. Thanks, Joe. Right, moving on now. And from an old shopping centre to an even older church, because restoration work at St Mary Magdalene Church in Newark is facing a huge budget gap after recent changes to tax rules. The Grade 1 listed building is looking at £600,000 shortfall after the government capped their ability to reclaim VAT on the project, putting parts of the work at risk of being scrapped. Our reporter Jack Sims has been there this morning to find out more.
The St Mary Magdalene's Church has been a tall pillar of Newark's community for centuries. But now it's their prayers that are in need of answering. Last year, the church closed its doors to undergo more than £4 million of refurbishment and restoration. Funding for the project came through the National Lottery Heritage Fund and the Church of England, which supports its Reawakening project. The works would see extensive repairs to the roof, but also improving parts of the church to better suit the needs of the wider community. This would include a cafe space, improved seating and even solar panels. For this ambitious project, the church was expecting to reclaim a substantial portion of the cost of VAT through a government grant scheme. But in January, the government announced changes to their listed places of worship grant scheme, capping the claims at $25,000 per year. This, ministers say, is due to increasing financial pressures. Although they say this won't impact 94% of current church project claims, for Chris Lyon, the church's rector, he's asking for an exception to be made.
Well, we recognise that the government faces some difficult decisions at the moment about spending. So what we're asking for is simply transitional arrangements where building work's already happening, where the funding is, in place and being relied on, and suddenly the rug's been pulled out from under their feet. That the total cost to the government purse of kind of honouring the scheme as it has been for those projects that are already underway is negligible. But for those communities that are affected and those churches that are affected, it would make a huge difference.
With the potential cuts to the project, Anna Herbert, the church's visitor experience manager, says it puts what the church provides to the wider community at risk.
It makes it very difficult to plan ahead at the moment because there's still a lot of questions hanging over how far that impact's going to reach, whether that's providing meals for local school children, doing activities with local charities, all of that's been put at jeopardy.
In response to concerns, a Department of Culture, Media and Sport spokesperson said listed places of worship are important to faith communities and provide a range of services to the wider public. Many of them are architecturally and historically significant. This is why the government has extended the listed places of worship grant scheme until the 31st of March 2026. But with work expected to be completed this November, the church may have to put the wider vision of its reawakening to rest. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Right, let's have a look at some more news headlines for you. And a number of roads in Nottingham were closed this morning as police dealt with a suspicious package. Trams were unable to run beyond Old Market Square and Royal Centre, with roads including the Market, Friar Lane, Wheelergate, King Street, Queen Street and Parliament Street closed while investigation work was carried out. Nottinghamshire Police confirmed about 7:30 this morning the package wasn't suspicious, and then confirmed a controlled explosion discovered it was likely to be a battery pack for an electric scooter. A convicted sex offender has been jailed after raping a girl in a Nottingham park. 29-year-old Hamza Khan met his victim as she walked near Crown Island in Woollerton back in May last year, and then sexually attacked her in a Nasby park. He was identified following a CCTV investigation linking him to a bike at the scene. Last Friday, Khan of Horton Crescent in Woollerton admitted to rape and was jailed for more than 9 years in Nottingham Crown Court. He was also made to sign the sex offender register for life and given a 15-year sexual harm prevention order. Right, still to come up on the show just for you, we are going to be catching up with Jay Martin, the man behind the Mansfield Town Film Festival. It is on again this summer. We'll also meet potential championship boxer and your Tuesday Sport Roundup. It's all coming up for you next. Hello, welcome back to Tuesday's show with me, Al Booth. Thank you for being here. This is what's happening in Notts today. Police say they're continuing with high visibility patrols in the city in the wake of 3 recent knife-related incidents. Officers have been patrolling hotspot areas in Nottingham following a stabbing in Primark, a fight involving machete in Hockley and a stabbing in a house party near the castle. The unconnected incidents, which happened within days of each other, have led to various arrests and charges. Officers will also meet with Nottingham City Council on Thursday to find a way of tackling knife crime in our city. And calls to build a new road bridge over the River Trent have been reignited after a councillor wrote to the regional mayor asking for action. Tory politician Mike Adams, who represents the Trent Valley area of Gedling, wants a 4th Trent crossing to ease congestion around Gedling and Rushcliffe, with the bridge potentially connecting Colwick with Radcliffe-on-Trent. He's written to Mayor Claire Ward, with the full backing of the County Council leader Sam Smith, to see if a study can be conducted into the potential new bridge. Now, Mansfield Town Film Festival is coming back this summer from the 25th to the 27th of July. It's back for its 3rd year, I can't believe that. It's bringing together a huge range of filmmakers focusing on diverse and working class talent, and it will take place at Mansfield Palace Theatre. Festival director Jay Martin is here to give us the rundown. I can't believe it's 3rd year. We were just saying that before we came on. That's incredible, isn't it? So how's it all going? What's it looking like for 2025?
It's looking amazing so far, yeah. So we're open for submissions at the moment. So we've had over 250, I think, at this point. Right. We're at from all over the world, diverse group of stories there. And yeah, it's really amazing to be back for a 3rd year again, bigger, better as always, and changing things up a little bit in terms of how we do things this year.
So I remember last year when you came on, there was a big focus on diversity and working class filmmakers as well, wasn't there? So, which obviously was brilliantly successful. What about this year then? What's changing up?
Well, we're continuing to build on that really. I mean, we are born of an ethos to promote diverse working class talent, which is what makes our festival unique compared to other festivals. So we have that strong focus on working class talent, women's voices, LGBTQI plus voices. And last year, we brought in neurodiverse and disabled voices, which was a really, really powerful strand, some incredible films there. So we're continuing to build on that with this year. We're bringing all of those strands back again and continuing to build, I guess, one of the most diverse festivals around.
You get, obviously, it's great for Mansfield. Mansfield is such a hub of creativity, and the festivals that go on. We have the Japanese festivals that come in there, and it's such a creative hub. But are you getting the sense that it's spreading far and wide as well?
I think so, yeah. I mean, when we started Mansfield Town Film Festival just a few short years ago now, there wasn't really that much going on in a creative sense, and I say that in like the best possible, you know, use of the term. But since then, and the Arts Council money that's been put into Mansfield, we had our first ever Caribbean, celebration festival in July 23. They have so much more art, culture, creative stuff going on. Got One Fest up there, which is one of the country's only learning disabled Pride festivals as well. So it's really, really an amazing place. You think of Mansfield, you don't necessarily always think of these amazing creative outlets, but it's changing up there now. There's some brilliant stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, like you say, traditionally you haven't thought, but you think Mansfield as, you know, the pits and the mining and that. But yeah, the creativity that's happening now in the past few years is incredible. Can people submit then? I'm guessing you're still looking for submissions.
We are, always. So people can submit online via our website, Mansfield Town Film Festival, and then soon, sort of May time, in the next couple of months, we'll be announcing our official programme. Some really exciting films on. We show over 100 films every year across the 3 days, which is a lot of films, but all different stories, of course, and then a bunch of amazing breakout sessions, Q&As, where you can get stuck into the behind-the-scenes sort of making of the films, meet some fantastic people, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this year we'll have some big guests joining us as well.
Are you going to drop any names just yet?
I mean, I keep emailing Shane Meadows, Vicky McClaw, if they're watching, they want to get back to us, you know, they're more than welcome to, but I've not heard from them yet. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important for us that we are a celebration of working class talent as well, and we have those amazing figures like Vicky, like Shane, that are from the area, are passionate about knots. So we'd love to have one of those two, or both of them, come up to the festival this year.
I think Vicky's office is on the top floor of where we are.
I'm going to go knock on.
Get the lift in, you'll be all right. And what about you personally? Obviously, you came from the filmmaking background. You are a filmmaker before all this kicked off.
Yeah. Well, as we were saying before, you know, it's been 3 years now since I released Red to Blue, which was my last film, political documentary, all about Mansfield. But I'm getting back into filmmaking now. Now that we're 3 years into the festival, it's a bit more established. I have an amazing team that I work with as well. My assistant festival director, Kieran, is a brilliant person who helps me out with the film festival. So I'm getting back into making films, currently working on an adaptation of a really, really exciting Nottingham-based memoir, and we'll be speaking about that very soon, hopefully, on this show.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So Red to Blue was incredible, you know, all about the red wall of Labour going to the Conservative Party. We've had another election since then. We've had umpteen prime ministers and whatnot. Are you ever tempted to revisit that and go modern day?
No. I think making Red to Blue was a really, really amazing experience for me. It gave me the opportunity of creating Mansfield Town Film Festival. I had a very brief stint working in the political world, and it was a horrible experience. And so I'm trying to avoid politics now as much as I can.
Right.
I'm sure there's someone out there, though, who would love to make that blue to red story. Maybe even someone at Confetti, just next door, to take that challenge on. But it's a really exciting, I think, story up there, always changing. Yeah. Always things going on. So great place to be.
Well, that's the thing. You encapsulated it brilliantly with that film, which is why, you know, there's a curiosity. Will there be another? But you've answered that better than any politician would, actually, quite firmly. So
learn from the best.
Mind us when Mansfield is.
Mansfield Town Film Festival, 25th to the 27th of July at the Mansfield Palace Theatre.
Fantastic, thank you. I didn't want to leave that on politics. So. Right, in a moment, we're going to take your Tuesday sport round. At first, though, we're going to head to the boxing gym in Hyson Green that's been training amateur and professional boxers for more than a decade. It's produced Nottingham boxing legends like Echo the Engine Esserman, and now their next prodigy, that's Conor Millward. He's preparing to go pro. Izzy Fekulak went along to find out more.
Conor Millward, nicknamed the Bulwell Bomber, has been training harder than ever as he prepares to make his professional debut. With mentorship from boxing greats and a rigorous training routine, he hopes to be the next success story for the DCT Boxing Academy. With his very own key to the Hyson Green Youth Club, he trains up to 8 times a week, but he does so alongside working full-time as a support worker for children suffering from mental illnesses, and his hard work is paying off. Conor's had an amateur record of 27 wins and 6 losses. He says he's ready to take his career up a notch.
Right now I'm not looking too far ahead. I'm looking at the next 18 months or so. I want to have 5 fights. I want to remain undefeated and hopefully stop a couple people. I've got big aspirations. Hopefully maybe a British title, maybe a European title. Having Efo and Derek around me, it's good to see what they've achieved, and it makes it makes it seem possible for myself to achieve these things as well.
And in the company of greatness, Conor hopes to follow the footsteps of the reigning WBO European welterweight champion, Echo the Engine Esserman. He's mentoring Conor alongside preparing for the fight of his life against world champion Josh Taylor, the Tartan Tornado, who's stepping up a weight class to face Echo in the ring. That fight will take place on May the 24th and preparations are well underway.
I'm expecting a good, tough fight. He's going to have something to prove, so I'm expecting him to be training hard. I stay ready as opposed to getting ready. So unfortunately for him, he's going to become a victim of my success. Yeah, I'm working with Conor here at DCT. It's good stuff. I've seen him come up from the amateur matches that he's had. He's got a beautiful career ahead of him. He trains hard, he's got the work ethic. He'll come and train with me, and not a lot of people do that because they just can't keep up.
Most people can't keep up, but Conor can. He's fighting for his place in the big leagues, and those around him are pushing to make that a reality. Head coach Barrington Brown founded the DCT Academy back in 2013, and he believes in the future success of this young prodigy.
Now he's more focused, he's running every day, he's competing with these guys on the running, it's everything competition to him now, you know what I mean? He wants to be the best. I won't tell anyone to go for it. They've got to feel it for themselves, they want to know that they're ready. So he's ready, he's more than ready.
He's focused, he's ready, and though nothing's confirmed, Conor hopes to make his professional debut in just a few months. We'll soon see if he adds to Nottinghamshire's growing boxing legacy. Izzy Fekulak for Notts TV.
Right, from boxing to football and starting with Mansfield Town, they're back in action tonight, heading to Exeter. The Stags are on a 3-game unbeaten run, albeit through 3 draws, but their opponents are also unbeaten in 3 as well, with a 2-0 win over Shrewsbury at home at the weekend. The sides are separated by a point and 2 places in the League One table. Mansfield are slightly better off though. Kick-off is 7:45 tonight. Notts are also in action as well, taking on Grimsby on the road. The Magpies head into the game off the back of 2 losses, including on the road to fellow promotion chasers Wimbledon on Saturday. A win for Grimsby, who are unbeaten in 8, would leapfrog them above County in the League 2 table. And Basford United's match with Lancaster ended terribly after one of their players suffered a horrific injury. Josh Barnes suffered a broken ankle and fibula and underwent surgery following a challenge during their match on Saturday afternoon. The club launched a fundraiser to support him through the injury and said they'll do what they can to get him through the next few months. We wish him all the best as well. Nottingham Forest women have extended their lead at the top of the Premier Division to 2 points. The away win over Burnley got going through Sophie Domingo before Freya Thomas headed home a Charlie Wellings cross to take a 2-0 lead into half-time. The scoreline stayed that. Speaking afterwards, head coach Carly Davies said she was happy with how they put away both their goals.
A wonderful bit of play. Charlie puts the ball in and Sophie's worked exceptionally hard to make the box, and it was a great finish. And then what I'm really pleased of is a set play. Jake, our goalkeeper coach, deserves a hell of a lot of credit for that. He's done some exceptional work with the girls. We knew that it was an area that we could exploit. And again, we're Freya's on the end of that one, and that puts us at 2-0, and then we know it's about managing the game.
Right, picture of the daytime now, and this is a beauty. Steve Plerinsky over on Instagram sent this. I'm going to say it's a moorhen, yeah. You can send us yours, Notts_TV on socials. Weather, okay, well, spring was fun, wasn't it? The sun's gone away. Today it's been a cloudy one, dropping to 2 overnight. Tomorrow it's going to be about the same temperature. Lots of cloud, a little bit of sun peeking through. It'll be dry all day though, and Thursday is very much the same. So there is that. Right, when we come back, we're going to find out how a £2,000 donation from a city business will help an organisation supporting people through hardship. And we'll see if you fancy going out tonight, where to go. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Al. Thank you for being here. Some more headlines for your Tuesday, and a Notts Council is spending nearly £250,000 on a new computer software to claw back unpaid rent from housing tenants. Mansfield District Council says rent arrears from its tenants currently stands about £1 million, but a decision last Friday gave permission for a 3-year contract with a software developer to streamline how the council reclaims rent arrears. That'll start from April, and the Labour-run authority said it's lost housing income, which is needed to improve homes. And carbon associated with the tens of thousands of new trees planted across Notts will be used to generate new funding to reinvest into woodland maintenance. New wooded areas have been created across various sites in the county as part of Nottinghamshire County Council's plan to plant more trees and mitigate the impact of climate change. The authority says up to 250,000 trees have been planted over the past 5 years with carbon credits in their tradable units for carbon projects to be reinvested into future planting projects. Right, okay, so the sun has sort of tucked itself away, but it's still nice to go out in the evening. So if you're doing that, this is where you can go. We'll start off strong at the Metronome. It is Nashville Nights Tour. If you're a country fan, this is definitely for you. You can see it all from 7 p.m. and you can watch the heart and soul of country music come alive on stage right here in Nottingham. Ruby Tuesday is on as ever at the Pelican Club, 6:30 till 10. If you fancy a bit of jazz and blues this evening, that is the place for you. Or rock supergroup Mike and the Mechanics. They're at Royal Concert Hall from 7:30. Aside from music, it's quiz night at Brewdog tonight. You can win a grand prize of 40 quid if you get yourself over to Stealth. It's Bubbling Tuesday. It's only Tuesday, there's so much to do. Whatever you're doing, have a brilliant evening. I think there's more there than I've done in 6 months. Right, now some happy positive news, and Nottingham's St Mary's Relief in Need has just received a generous donation from Rotherham Bray Solicitors. St Mary's in Need is a local charity dedicated to supporting families in financial hardship. The £2,224 donation was part of the firm's new Deeds That Make a Difference initiative. Mark Chowdhury, trustee for St Mary's Relief in Need, and Rotherham Bray chairman Anne-Marie Bowman are here now. Thank you for coming in. Let's talk, first of all, Mark, let's talk about the work you do.
The charity, well, it's 500 years old. It was founded in 1524. It's actually an amalgamation of 26 different local charities, 19 of which were founded before 1800. Its present form took form in 1975 as Nottingham Relief in Need, but it was based at St Mary's Church where it first started, looking after parishioners of St Mary's. Now it's Nottingham city-based, so we look after the needs of the people of Nottingham.
Fantastic, which is a great cause to be involved with, I think, isn't it, Anne-Marie?
Absolutely, and we're based in the Lace Market right next to the church, and we've had a long-standing relationship with the church and held a number of events there. And we wanted to do something really fabulous to celebrate our 200 years, and we found out that it linked in with 500 years of the fabulous charity, and we didn't want to hold an event without doing something for the community. So it was a fabulous opportunity to have a celebration, but also raise some funds for a very charitable cause.
And we're very grateful. It's companies and businesses, local businesses like Rotherham Bray, that have actually kept the charity going for centuries. It was originally founded in 1524, as I said, by a guy called Thomas Willoughby, who basically left his money to St Mary's. He'd left a horse and a saddle, and that went to help fund almshouses at the time. Okay. And we've had local businesses and local personalities and local companies donate to the charity over the years. What we do with the money is invested, so we just spend the interest. That's how the charity was set up 500 years ago, and that's why we're still there.
So when you say invested, what are you investing in?
Well, I'm not a financial wizard, so we originally had property, almshouses, things like that. I believe now we have an investment company looking after our portfolio, and they just provide us with the money that we've got, and as trustees, our job is to distribute that money in the best way we possibly can for the people of Nottingham.
So events like this, obviously,
very
important. Well, any charity, regardless of how new or old you are, you're always fighting against, financial implications, or as each year and age goes on, aren't you?
Well, our clientele are people basically in financial hardship. They're all signposted to us by social workers, support workers belonging to charities and different organisations who basically vet them for us, and then they know what they want. We don't have a great deal of money, so what we tend to do is supply low cost but high impact items such as fridges, a bed, a cooker, a fridge, children's clothing, carpet, that sort of thing. We're trying to do that continuously. Although we have noticed a massive upsurge in the need for our services. So really, we've started to try and raise our profile in the city to let people know we're actually out there. Because we've never really publicised ourselves. That's why so few people have heard about us. And we're now trying to actually produce a bit more of a drive to see what people think of us, and we've got a website up and running and people can find out more.
Brilliant.
I think most people can appreciate, can't they, how helpful it is to have that sort of practical assistance. If people are, have got that need for everyday things that a lot of us take for granted, to be able to help people if they're vulnerable and they're in a difficult situation is just wonderful. And I think to be able to help raise funds for that is something that it's been a privilege to do, and to be able to highlight that and hopefully get some more interest in the charity is just wonderful.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your initiative then to celebrate your 200 years at Rotherham Bray. Not your 200 years at Rotherham Bray,
Not quite, no, but I've been there a long time now. And what we wanted to do was to make an impact in the community. So we set about a challenge of doing 200 deeds that make a difference. And it will hopefully it's going to be done over the next year. So we've set ourselves time to do it, but we really want to make an impact in the community. And this was just the way we launched it, really, with the party and the charitable raising that night. So that was a really good opportunity to start that. And we'd provided all our guests on the night with a really lovely video that we played about the history of the firm, but also explaining what we wanted to do going into the future as well in our 200th year.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we can catch up with you throughout the year as things continue and you can keep us informed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in. Now, there's a story we've been talking about on the show today, and that is the problems with the restoration work at St Mary Magdalene Church in Newark. It's facing a huge budget gap after recent changes to the tax rules. The Grade 1 listed building is looking at £600,000 shortfall after the government capped their ability to reclaim VAT on the project, and that put parts of the work at risk of being scrapped. Our reporter Jack Sims was there this morning to find out more.
The St Mary Magdalene's Church has been a tall pillar of Newark's community for centuries, but now it's their prayers that are in need of answering. Last year, the church closed its doors to undergo more than £4 million of refurbishment and restoration. Funding for the project came through the National Lottery Heritage Fund and the Church of England, which supports its Reawakening project. The works would see extensive repairs to the roof, but also improving parts of the church to better suit the needs of the wider community. This would include a cafe space, improved seating and even solar panels. For this ambitious project, the church was expecting to reclaim a substantial portion of the cost of VAT through a government grant scheme. But in January, the government announced changes to their listed places of worship grant scheme, capping the claims at £25,000 per year. This, ministers say, is due to increasing financial pressures. Although they say this won't impact 94% of current church project claims, for Chris Lyon, the church's rector, he's asking for an exception to be made.
Well, we recognise that the government faces some difficult decisions at the moment about spending. So what we're asking for is simply transitional arrangements where building work's already happening, where the funding is, in place and being relied on, and suddenly the rug's been pulled out from under their feet. The total cost to the government purse of kind of honouring the scheme as it has been for those projects that are already underway is negligible. But for those communities that are affected and those churches that are affected, it would make a huge difference.
With potential cuts to the project, Anna Herbert, the church's visitor experience manager, says it puts what the church provides to the wider community at risk.
It makes it very difficult to plan ahead at the moment because there's still a lot of questions hanging over how far that impact's going to reach, whether that's providing meals for local school children, doing activities with local charities, all of that's been put at jeopardy.
In response to concerns, a Department of Culture, Media and Sport spokesperson said listed places of worship are important to faith communities and provide a range of services to the wider public. Many of them are architecturally and historically significant. This is why the government has extended the listed places of worship grant scheme until the 31st of March 2026. But with work expected to be completed this November, the church may have to put the wider vision of its reawakening to rest. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Now let's take some more of your news headlines. And more than 90 hospital workers could have accessed the medical records of the 3 Nottingham attacks victims. The BBC has reported 91 Nottingham University Hospitals Trust staff members checked the records of Grace O'Malley Kumar, Barnaby Webber and Ian Coates, who were killed by Valdo Calacane in Nottingham in June 2023. While some had genuine reasons for checking the records, the Trust confirmed earlier this month it was investigating concerns some staff accessed them inappropriately and apologised to the victims' families. And a man has been arrested after a pupil was assaulted outside a school in Bestwood. The child was walking to Robin Hood Primary School with 2 other pupils when a man on a bicycle struck her with his hand as he rode past on Lechlade Road. The unprovoked incident happened just before 8:30 in the morning last Friday, March the 7th, and following inquiries, a 38-year-old man was arrested by police on suspicion of assault occasioning actual bodily harm. He's been bailed while investigations continue. Right, coming up, we're going to hear all about the equivalent of the World Cup of football taking place right here in Nottingham next. Hello, welcome back to Tuesday's show. I'm Al Booth. Thank you for being here. This is what's happening in Notts today. Nottinghamshire County Council has announced proposed increases to fees and charges for its libraries, archives and information services. The changes would take effect from April and would see fees rise by about 5%, and it would see things like charges for British Library and interlibrary loan requests rising from £6 to £6.30. The daily overdue charge would rise from 20p to 21p, with the maximum charge of £8 remaining unchanged. The council says the increases are being introduced to cover rising costs. And Rushcliffe Borough Council has issued a statement after businesses were given a notice to leave Tollerton Airport. Organisations, including an aviation school, have been handed a notice to leave the land by June as part of plans to build about 4,000 homes. Now Rushcliffe Borough Council has issued a statement saying the land has been allocated in a strategic housing plan for Greater Nottingham, which goes out to consultation this week. But the council also said the decision to close the airfield is a private matter between the landowner and tenants. Now, a protest against school fines took place in Nottingham, calling for greater flexibility for parents to take their children out of school. The campaign Protests to Fight School Fines held protests all around the country to try and collect signatures to increase the number of term time leaves without penalties. Our reporter Marta Evora Silva attended the protest to find out why people were calling for change.
Old Market Square became the stage where parents spoke against penalties for taking children out of schools. Protest to Fight School Fines was created last July and has grown to 21,000 members. The group believes fining parents for taking pupils out of school in term time without considering things like special educational needs, disabilities and bullying is a punishment to children. And they took their message to the streets of Nottingham to call for a change in legislation. The founder, Natalie Elliott, is a mother of 2, with one of them having autism. She says schools can be overwhelming for children with special educational needs. And she also experienced the importance of time out of school when her sister was diagnosed with cancer aged 9.
For us as a whole family, it was such a tough and traumatic time. It made us realise how important that family time is. So we did go on holidays, we did take time off. My sister still ended up being a nurse. She did what she wanted to do and she achieved it, and it did not matter that she missed nearly 2 years of her whole school life.
Current legislation means parents are fined £80 per child for any pupil taking more than 5 days off school without permission. The government says 91% of the nearly 500,000 fines last year were for unauthorized holidays, with total fines increasing to this figure from just 25,000 in 2010. The group is fighting to increase term time leave to 10 days by encouraging people to sign the petition. Elizabeth Tyler has experienced fines firsthand and attended the protest in Nottingham.
We have 5 children between us. 4 of them are diagnosed with additional needs. Our youngest one, Daisy, ended up being quite severely abused within school, and she ended up with a really bad trauma. And no one could get her back into any school environment again. A lot of the people that are actually getting fined are for children with SEND, for children that are unwell, and they are trying to be forced back into education setting, which just obviously isn't going to work.
A similar petition was discussed by MPs in November, and in that debate, the government said absence are one of the biggest barriers to success. But ministers also said parents of children with special education needs get attendance support before fines are handed out. In the debate, Stephen Morgan, who is Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Education, said, "We know that some pupils face more complex barriers to attendance. These can include pupils who have long-term physical or mental health conditions or special educational needs and disabilities. Minimizing absence of any kind is crucial if we are to ensure that they reach their full potential, and we will continue to work in collaboration with the sector to take steps to achieve that." Marta Evra Silva for Nods TV.
Now, this is exciting. A mini football World Cup is coming to Nottingham. The Robin Hood Cup is aiming to bring together communities from Brazil, India, Ghana, Nigeria, Sudan and more in a celebration of Nottingham's diverse heritage. The event is in partnership with Notts FA, University of Nottingham Sports, the Python Club and Visit Nottinghamshire. Organiser Cephas Grant is here to tell us all about it. Thank you for coming in. This is so exciting. So how did this all come about then? How did it come to you?
Yeah, so I think the way I was inspired in trying to create this kind of event, I wanted to create an inclusive event where it showcases Nottingham's diverse football talent, right? As well as trying to honour the city's iconic Robin Hood legacy. Yeah, so football is not just a game, it's actually like an instrument in trying to unite people and building communities, right? So if you remember Didier Drogba's role in trying to resolve the civil war in Ivory Coast, that shows you the power of football. So we've got different associations here in Nottingham, different cultural groups, right? And Nottingham is known for its multicultural identity, okay? So millions of people watch the World Cup across different cultures, and we've got those cultures here: Brazil, Indian, Ghana, Nigeria. So why not bring them together and then play this football tournament, as well as celebrating Nottingham's heritage?
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It's an incredible idea. So, so how does it all? Do you then go reach out and just sort of see if anyone's interested, or how has it all come together?
Yeah, so I try to reach out to the different associations. So this football tournament is not just about football, but it's trying to celebrate different cultures. Okay, so we are trying to promote local engagement and also grassroots football, and also boost tourism in Nottingham. So this will attract different people who come in here. For example, we've got the Hong Kong people who came here. I think they started in 2022, right? And we are trying to get them to join us, so you can tell what they would experience when they come for this kind of tournament. So you're there seeing different cultures, learning about different cultural groups, the cultural exchange there. It's really, really exciting. And we are trying to create that kind of environment where people feel some kind of sense of belonging in Nottingham's multicultural identity.
It's a brilliant thing for the city, and it's what the city needs, certainly at the moment as well, I think. So where are the teams? So are teams coming from abroad to play here, or are these teams that exist
so the teams will be in Nottingham here. So we've got like the Brazilian, we've got the Indian, we've got the Ghanaian, we've got Nigerian Association, we've got Ireland as well, and then we've got the Hong Kong as well, and then we've got the England team as well. Yeah, so it's going to be more like a mini World Cup, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so them coming together, we're going to have like 2 groups. Okay. So they play like a round robin format, and then afterwards we have 2 teams with the highest points to play in the semi-final, and then they go to the final.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but before that, we even have like an opening ceremony. Wow. Yeah, so just like the way you watch in the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
You have a representative from each association having a flag coming around, so you can see Brazil, you can see England, you can see Sudan, Ghana, Nigeria. Yeah, and then afterwards we'll have like a platform for them to do like a music and dance performance.
Right.
by each association.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And when does it all take part?
Sorry?
When's it on? When does it take part?
So it will be taking place at the David Ross Sports Village on Monday, 26th of May, 2025. At David Ross Sports Village.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we can all just come along?
It's open. The matches is open to the public, and we are even looking at options of doing a live stream. So if you're not able to attend, you'll be able to just watch at home.
Just like the World Cup?
Yeah, just like the World Cup, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are you looking for people to take part? Do you want people to take part?
Definitely.
Teams?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, how can people find out more?
Yeah, so currently we are trying to promote it on the What's On calendar with Visit Nottinghamshire. We are trying to also launch it on our website as well as our socials. Yeah, but this will be a great platform to let people know. But by next week, everything will be up and they can have a lot of information about the tournament and how they could get there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. Thank you, Cephas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That is brilliant. And speaking of tourism and Robin Hood, that was discussed, one of the issues on whether Nottingham needs a tourism tax on the most recent episode of the Notts TV debate. That aired on Friday. You can see the discussion and loads more from Frances Finn and her panel at various points across the month, or by going to the website nottstv.com or Notts TV official on YouTube. The panel also discussed whether Hooters bars are sexist or not. Here's a snippet of that debate.
Do you think it's sexist? I'm just asking because we've got a bar in Nottingham. There's a new one just opened in Newcastle, but we believe that the company is on the verge of bankruptcy. So could it be that it's losing its appeal? I don't know. Is it sexist? I'll start with you, Penny, briefly.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Mike, you love a Hooters, don't you?
Yes. Well, I've been for years, but I'm proud that we've got one. That touch of American-style approach. My lasting memory of going to Hooters. Have you been? Sorry, what was your experience in Hooters? Did you?
It was horrible.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to explain, if you're
girls
not familiar,
happy?
Hooters, the waitresses, and they are mostly girls, young girls, they wear not so many clothes. I mean, it's not bikinis, is it? But it's like low-cut tops, little shorts, and it's there to provide a bit of eye candy.
Nottingham Friday night, it was cops and criminals night for the students, the university. So
Now, in case you missed it, this is your Tuesday pick of the day. I wanted to show this one again from Steve Plewinski on Instagram. You can send us yours as well. Notts_TV is the place to do that. Weather-wise, okay, it's not terrible. It's just not as sunny as it's been recently. A bit cloudy today with highs of 9. Tomorrow, we will see highs of 8. A little bit of sunshine in there. Just a slight threat of showers, but let's not focus on that. Spring is on its way, isn't it? It's going to be the same on Thursday as well. Nippy into Thursday, 1 degree overnight, and then highs of 8, bit of sunshine. There you go. Well, thank you for being here with us tonight. Tomorrow, Mark Dennison is back with Notts Today. And then, of course, after Mark with Notts Today at 8 o'clock, it is Team Talk. They'll be reflecting on everything. And Mark will be looking at what happened with Notts and Mansfield tonight. Thank you for being here. I am back on Thursday. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.